What I'd like to do here is to get you ready to do the practice rounds as a team, and I've got a set of slides here that some of which are pretty detailed. So I'm going to go quickly over some of those, but I do think there is information on there that you may want to, stop the slide and spend a little more time on. So, clearly consider that as an option as I brush lightly over some of these detailed slides. All right, what is the purpose of the practice round? I'm trying to get you familiar with this decision process, how you interface with CAPSIM, how you make decisions, and clearly in the practice round you have a chance to make some mistakes. So try something and see what happens. Make projections and then see how actual differs from your projected in the pro forma. Learn from your mistakes. Don't worry so much about the mistakes in the practice round. That's why we have this practice round. And really that process is kind of as follows. You go in and you essentially make decisions in 4 areas: R&D, marketing, production, and finance. Again, as I said, before you finalize your decisions, you must look at the pro forma financial statements. In other words, based on that decision set, what does your projected balance sheet look like? What does your projected cash flow statement look like? What does your projected income statement look like? One very good technique that I often suggest, it's rarely used, but it's a great idea, is once you come up with your projected, freeze those numbers, save those numbers, then go in and do a worst case scenario where you take and guess, what if we don't increase sales at all from last year? What if we sold not a single one more than we sold last year? What would or if we made no changes at all to the product, what would the pro forma look like? And make sure you've got enough cash to follow that worst case scenario, and then go back and re-put in your preferred answers to run your suggested changes. Now let me quickly step through the 4 sets of decisions you make. In R&D, you make a set of decisions for all your existing products. Obviously, if you set up a new product, you got to make that same set of decisions for that new product. A couple key things to remember: anytime you make a change to a product, you cut the age of that product in half. And also, when you make changes to a product, it will give you a revision date. Remember that those changes will not go into effect until that revision date. So you'll make changes and you'll think, oh, all next year our products are going to sell at those new characteristics, but they don't. They don't start selling at those new characteristics until you reach the revision date. Marketing, you got to make big decisions like, what are we going to sell it for? We're going to change the price, are we going to lower the price, are we going to increase our promotion budget, and very importantly, our sales forecast. You need to be thoughtful about your sales forecast. Why would you sell any more next year than you sold this year? Well, if you think because of changes you made that you should, then you would increase your sales forecast. If not, why would you increase your sales forecast? Production. For existing products, how many are you going to make? Make sure you look at the amount you have in inventory, because if you've got a whole bunch in inventory and you expect to sell so many, you only need to produce your sales target less your existing inventory. And lastly, finance. Are you going to have enough money to pay for all these improvements, all these investments that you've decided to make? Check your projected cash. I've already talked about doing a worst case. That would be the best way to establish what your financing ought to be. But if you don't do a worst case, clearly take your forecast and then back off a little so that you've got some additional cash beyond what that forecasts. So really, the punchline here is that every team is going to make mistakes. And those teams that learn from their mistakes and fix things going forward, both whether it's in the practice rounds or even once we get into the competition rounds, in the early competition rounds, realize what they've done wrong, fix it going forward, those are the teams that will be successful.